My father learned to fly in 1928, and I kind of came along late in his life. And he had a Stinson SR-5A, I think he bought it about 1932 or 31. He flew it up to the Stinson factory just outside of Detroit, where Detroit Metro Airport is right now, and came back with this airplane. And they sold it well before I was born and bought a Stinson SR-9 Gullwing, but I tracked it down on the internet about 2006. The guy had it, wanted to sell it, and let's say it was in good enough shape where I flew it to its point of restoration, but it's been a 12-and-a-half-year restoration. I was sort of disappointed in that the oil consumption after 2.5 hours of flying was 4 gallons, which is a lot for this air. So I made one more flight. I was going down to my home airport at Peach State, south of Atlanta. I got as far as Gainesville, and the sun was setting. I said, I do not like to fly single-engine airplanes at night. I mean, 34,000 hours, and I don't fly single-engine at night. The guy for whom I was working at the time had a hangar in Gainesville, and I said, I think I'll spend the night in Gainesville with it. That was 50 miles north of Atlanta. I landed it in Gainesville, put the airplane in its hangar, and it spent the next 2 years there. Another friend of mine and I took the engine off the airplane, sent it to Don Sanders in Oklahoma, and I knew that was going to take a year. And while the engine was off, the firewall was made out of soft aluminum, which is a no-go. And so I said, well, I need to get a new firewall made. So while that was off, you had to take the engine mount off to get to the firewall. So I sent the engine mount down to a place in Albany, Georgia that overhauls engine mounts. By that point, we were at the instrument panel, so the instruments didn't work real well. They weren't very pretty. So let's take the instruments and get them overhauled. And then while they were all out, my friend Harold Spivey is real good at that kind of stuff, so he made a new instrument panel. And it's not just one instrument panel, it's a big instrument panel, then it's a base, and then it's a cover. And you can look in the airplane and see what a beautiful job Harold did of making those. So by that time, we'd been at Gainesville 2 years. And I had just finished building my hangar down at Williamson, Peach State Airport, and we took the wings off and trucked the airplane down there.
I had an Aranca Champ that I restored and brought it to this show in '06 and was award winner. Got a bronze Lindy with it, best in class. And he saw the fabric work that I did. And when he started doing this, he asked me to do it. And I resisted when I knew how big a project it was. But he cajoled me, he got me into it, and we just let it roll from there. And I just enjoyed doing the work. It was a lot of fun. I just took one part at a time. In the process, I didn't use any envelopes like a lot of people will do. They'll sew up an envelope, pull it over, leave seams and things that you can't cover up. I laid this up, the old time laying it up, as the wings as well as the fuselage. I did the top, fuselage, the bottom, and then I wrapped the sides. And that put the seams, what little seam you see, overlap seam on the bottom and up on the top, it kind of hides them.
Years ago, was given a Stearman ride for my birthday, and Harry Ballance gave me that ride. And while we were flying, I was chatting about what I did. I was an aircraft mechanic, and I had an airplane at home that I was working on restoring. So when we get back to the hangar, he walked up to me with a fairing from the gear leg down to the wheel pants. He said, "Can you make that?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I can make that." So I made it for him. And that's about as far as it went. And a couple of years later, he called me and asked if I'd help Harold Spivey, who had been working on the airplane. He said, "Would you come help him?" I was working weekend shift for a jet engine manufacturer, and I would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday part-time over at the hangar. Well, 3 years ago, that company laid me off, and so for the last 3 years, I've been working full-time on this project. Having been laid off and working on this full-time, I'm now an aircraft restoration mechanic. I'm going to open up my own shop. I just can't believe it. It's surreal to me, absolutely.
And And a lot of people other than me deserve the credit for it. Let's just say I own the airplane and I made it financially possible, but a lot of people gave of their time and skill set to make this happen.